Hi everyone, this is the Climb and Flow podcast, and today's guest is none other than Tina Breslin. So Tina loves her highballing, which is bouldering, where you go up quite high. So we talk a lot about that. We talk about her ADHD, her motivations in climbing, how she over time has become more process focused, and we also talk about what brings happiness to her in her climbing. I hope you enjoyed the episode. What's that thing in the background? Is it a curtain?
Yeah, it's like a curtain thing over the wardrobe.
Looks very colourful.
Yeah, it's kind of pretty. I like it.
Cool. Yeah.
And I have weird little skulls and stuff.
Have you?
Yeah, I'm a bit of a weirdo. I collect like little memorabilia from the climbs I do, like little feathers and things.
Okay. So what kind of skulls are they?
I'm not sure. There's like three different sizes on there. I feel like maybe a vole. I did Google it 'cause it has kind of yellow teeth, so I think that one's maybe a vole. And then there's
Yeah.
two slightly bigger ones, so I'm not sure. Maybe a squirrel?
Okay. Cool. Yeah. Well,
Yeah, who knows?
I mean,
Mystery things.
each to their own. Is taxidermy? Is that something that you're into?
Not yeah. No, I don't think I'd go that far actually. Maybe that's
No.
too far. Have you ever
Okay.
seen like the bad taxidermy? Like when they do it really badly and they've got like weird little crazy foxes and stuff.
Okay. No, I haven't
You
seen.
need to have that.
I think my wife, she's into her art stuff, and I think at university she experimented with taxidermy.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, and it looked, it looked it looked quite funny and quite awful. What was it? She got the skin of kind of an animal. I can't remember which animal, but she put a wooden cube inside the animal.
Like to make it like a square
Yeah,
hamster or something.
yeah,
Like
to make it a square. Yeah,
wow. Oh,
yeah. I'm not sure what she was thinking.
I think it'd be too like too gory, or like I think I'd get too upset. It would look too much like the animal,
Okay,
whereas the skull almost seems separate in a way. I think part of me doesn't immediately link that it's like a dead thing. I'm just like, oh, this is interesting.
okay. So what is it that interests you about the skulls?
I don't know really. I think I just like having a little memory of the place. So it's not just a skull. It'll be like an empty shotgun thing I've had from somewhere on the moors, or like a pebble if the crag is very pebbly, or
Okay,
yeah. So there's a mix of things: feathers, skulls. Yeah,
okay, cool. Okay. Well, I guess we all have our own kind of idiosyncrasies, don't we?
yeah. I feel like the skull thing, people either definitely get it or they're like it's kind of creepy witch vibes.
Yeah, yeah. I guess t turn the clock back maybe 400, 500 years ago, and you might have been burnt on the stake, eh?
Probably, yeah, probably.
Yeah, yeah. Cool. And should we get to it?
Yes.
I'll do a quick intro, and then I'll start asking you some questions. If at any point
Okay.
you need to take five or go to the loo or something, just let me know. I guess before we go, how long have I got you for?
As long as you want me for, I have nothing after this, so we're good.
Amazing. Cool. Right. So this is the 32nd episode for the Climb and Flow podcast, and today's guest is none other than Tina Breslin. Tina likes highballing. You work as a freelance graphic designer and illustrator. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you love nature and you like being at one with nature.
Yes.
Does
Yeah,
that
all
sound
those
about
things.
accurate?
Yeah, pretty accurate, yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Um, and I'm guessing because you do graphic design that you're a creative.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like illustrating and like creating things, and I really like the detail. I like making tiny little bell jars and like really honing in on the details of the little paintbrush, and all these things are probably to do with nature.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess did you study graphic design at university?
I did, yeah. I did graphic design at Sheffield Hallam, and then I did a master's in illustration.
Okay, cool. Okay, so illustration, is that illustration for books or what are the illustrations for?
So, I mean, at the minute, one of my main jobs is to do the user instructions for DMM.
Yeah.
So, when you get the user instructions and there's pictures of like, don't put the harness on backwards and this is how you use the cam and all that, like, they're the illustrations I mostly do at the minute.
Okay.
Um, but when I was studying, I just like drawing. I've always liked drawing. Didn't really know what I wanted to do. I just knew I wanted to draw.
Okay. Okay. So just I guess drawing with a pencil.
I really like drawing with a pen. I like the permanence of it and that you can't really make a mistake. And if you make a mistake, you have to sort of run with it. And I kind of like, yeah, the permanence of the pen. I'm not really a pencil girl.
Okay. So you like the pressure of getting it right first time.
Yeah, maybe there's a theme here. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I'm just kind of r really into what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah. I've never really thought about it, but yeah. Yeah. I like having to do something right. And if you do something wrong, um, being able to make the most of it, I
Okay.
think. Yeah. Being able
Okay.
to make a good situation out of a mistake.
Okay. So does that transfer to your climbing?
I think it does actually, thinking about it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The high pressure situation of having to do something right and being very focused in what you're doing and correct with your movements, I suppose. And also having the ability, if you do mess up, to make the best of the situation and not panic and be like, oh my God, this is terrible. Like, if you were to go wrong in an ink drawing, be like, right, okay, this is where we are, what we're going to do with it. Let's make the best out of wherever we are. If we're wrong footed or whatever, what can we do without panicking?
Okay. So that's quite pragmatic approach, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess you. Well, I'll get back to that, and I'll start with asking some questions maybe from the start. How did you
Yeah.
get into climbing?
So I've climbed for a while. I've climbed maybe about 15 years now.
Okay.
I went to a residential at school, really enjoyed it. And me and a friend decided to save up and get like really uncomfortable harnesses, really cheap, terrible, really big shoes, a couple of hexes, and a static between us. And we would beg our parents to drive us to Brimham. Or I think we got a bus a couple of times to Brimham as well, which was a big epic.
Okay.
But yeah, and we just sort of went out on our own, and just enjoyed being out, putting a top rope on something. And yeah, just after that, I never really looked back. That was it. Climbing just sort of clicked. I was always quite sporty and always did various things, gymnastics, even breakdancing, all sorts
Okay.
of like physical things growing up. But climbing's the one that I didn't get bored of.
Okay. So how old were you when you then finished your residential and then started doing some top roping stuff?
Went on a residential when I was about 15, I think.
Okay.
Um, then I think we went inside like a little bit and then went on like a learn to lead outside course at
Yeah.
this same place when we were teenagers, for like a week in the summer. We probably started going out there when we were about 15. Yeah, I think.
Okay.
So maybe it's longer than 15 years ago because I'm 34. Yeah.
Okay. That's super keen, right? As a 15-year-old.
Yeah, yeah, maybe a bit weird thinking about it, but
Yeah, I mean,
that's
I think climbing attracts quite individual personality types.
yeah,
Yeah, I don't think they kind of fit into a box.
yeah. I think I was always a little, I would say, weird at school. Like, yeah, a bit jokey, a bit silly. Yeah, maybe a little weird. I've always loved being outside in nature.
Yeah,
Um, like my dad's really into walking and birds and things like that, so I love doing that with him.
yeah.
And I think it really clicked when I found something physical that I could do outside.
Yeah.
And I
Okay.
think I like the problem solving aspect of climbing is different from just, I used to run as well, but running is just right. We're focused on being quick or whatever it is. But there's like problem solving in climbing that I like that makes you stay quite focused. And
Yeah.
it's that combination that's stuck.
Yeah. It's more engaging.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like you say, it attracts maybe a certain sort of person, or it definitely used to before it became more mainstream. So when you find someone else that's really into that same sport, then you're probably gonna get on. Like you're probably both a little bit weird or quirky, I think. You find your people.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think uh, quite although it's changing, I think the quite a lot of the climbing community quite nerdy.
Yeah,
Yeah, quite
yeah, I think so.
cerebral people.
Yeah, yeah. Um, I have a bit of a theory that a lot of climbers are neuro spicy, and I think again,
Meaning,
nerdy. What do you say, sorry?
what does that mean? What do you mean by
Neuro
neuro
spicy,
spicy?
neurodiverse.
Yep,
So maybe somewhere on the spectrum for autism,
yep,
or they have ADHD.
yep.
And I think, yeah, those sort of nerdier jobs and pastimes attract neurodiverse people, I
I
think.
guess, yeah, especially when you go towards track climbing. I'd agree with that.
Mm,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, like the analytical side of it and having to put, yeah, all those bits together with the physical, like, yeah, trying to pick the size of the gear and analyzing potential falls. And yeah, you can get kind of nerdy about track climbing, I think, can't you? Well, you can.
yeah. And a lot of people do, right? A lot of track climbers do get quite nerdy and quite vocal about how certain things are done,
Yeah. I
whether it's
found the
right or
same
wrong.
for, yeah, oh, everyone has an opinion, right?
Of course, yeah, yeah, yeah,
I find the same for training as well. A lot of people that train really hard maybe aren't neurotypical, not necessarily, but you can get very obsessive and very, again, analytical and
yeah,
passionate
yeah, yeah,
about
yeah.
training.
I mean, where else are people? I guess when you start playing around on a particular climbing problem, whether that's a boulder or whether that's a route, how many people are going to be kind of playing on the same problem? Like you go on a climbing session and you might spend your whole session on one problem.
That's kind of obsessive, right?
Yeah, of course it is completely. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and that's like not necessarily just for one session. Like people have several sessions on one move,
yeah,
like trying to analyze where their hips are and do they need to like drop their pinky a little bit or yeah,
yeah,
you can obsessive and literally one move for hours.
yeah, yeah. And then it's maybe it's that one move, or it's several moves, or it's just like you're analyzing like everything. If something is just outside or just outside your potential physical and mental ability in the moment, people will spend 50, 60 sessions on the same problem.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
really like that though. I think that's cool to have that like dedication to something. And I think yeah, I got diagnosed with ADHD just over a year ago.
Okay.
Um and I've been trying to look for positives because there's a lot of negatives, I feel. I live with a lot of negatives of it.
Oh, do
And one of
you?
the yeah, I find there's a lot of negatives to
Why?
having ADHD.
Name me a few.
Um, so a lot of it is like everyday stuff that you wouldn't know that I struggle with. So like switching tasks is really hard.
Yeah.
And starting things is hard.
Okay.
Um, almost like painful, and something has to be novel or urgent, or I need to be really passionate about it to do it.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of everyday things that aren't any of those. Like
Okay.
even work and trying to earn money sometimes can be really difficult to begin and
Okay.
really overwhelming.
Yeah.
And even just things like making a meal can be hard because there's so many steps. Like I think of every step for everything. Nothing is automatic. There isn't a habit. Even brushing my teeth can be a bit of a overwhelming sometimes because I
Okay.
don't just go and brush my teeth. I think like, oh, I have to get up and go over and take the lid off and then make sure I do it for long enough. And like everything is so many steps.
Okay.
And like sometimes it's too much.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah, that. And also like being able to control my focus can be frustrating because it's not like a deficit of attention. I don't think ADHD. It's I have too much attention. So talking to you, I can still hear the traffic. I'm
Yeah.
aware of if the dog's okay, and I'm sort of half thinking about other things and do I look all right? And there's so many things going on in my head.
Yeah.
And yeah, that means if you're trying to focus on one thing and maybe I'm not super interested in it, like something boring at work, I find it really hard to do it. I'm doing all these other things that aren't that important. Or maybe I have too much attention on something that I shouldn't be doing and I hyper focus on the wrong thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, just the logistics of it.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, like I even forget to eat and drink sometimes because I'm so hyper focused on what I am doing.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's lots of like little bits that people wouldn't realize to it,
Yeah.
I think.
Okay. So I'm guessing climbing is like a relief.
Oh, massively. I think that's one of the reasons it's stuck with me.
Yeah.
I think being out in nature is really good for mental health in general.
Yeah.
And for ADHD, exercise. I mean, exercise is good for everyone, but exercise is really good for hyperactivity. It's like a good, healthy outlook for it.
Yeah.
And the mix of like the problem solving as well,
Yeah.
like having to stay focused on something engaging with exercise in nature. That combination is amazing. And I think, like on a chemical level, I think the brain and ADHD doesn't produce dopamine, and I think the other ones I can't say it. Norepinephrine.
No,
No,
nor yeah, I know it's adrenaline.
mm,
Yeah.
it doesn't produce it
Norepinephrine.
like in. There we are. That one.
Yeah. That's the one.
It doesn't doesn't produce it in the same way, or it doesn't regulate it in the same way.
Okay.
And being outside and exercise like releases dopamine and these chemicals in a very like positive way.
Yeah.
And it's a better way for me to get these chemicals than getting dopamine from doom scrolling or binge drinking or eating sugar or all these other things that give you dopamine.
Yeah.
Climbing is like a much healthier way to get them.
Yeah, completely. Yeah, because I guess when you are climbing, you end up being so focused in the moment that I guess nothing else really matters, right? That there's no, if you're climbing at your physical or your mental limit, you're so in the moment.
Yeah, and because I'm so psyched and passionate about it, it's really easy for me to focus on it and to hyper focus on it.
Yeah.
And I get so absorbed in the problem solving or executing or whatever it is that I'm doing with climbing, that I forget all of the struggles I have on a very day to day like level. So yeah, as soon as I wake up, I have like a million thoughts and a million worries, and I'm pretty anxious and not always the kindest to myself. I'm not the nicest to myself. I'm working on it. But
Okay.
yeah, it's quite overwhelming. And then I get out in nature climbing and I'm focusing on this beautiful bit of rock and just everything's quiet and I feel like I can just be, oh, it's such a cliche, but like be myself and just I don't have to worry about like the overstimulation of a really noisy world that I feel like I don't always fit in.
Yeah.
I can literally just be myself with this rock and no one's looking at me, no one's thinking, oh, you should be doing this. And I just feel so calm and so quiet. And it's such a contrast to my everyday life. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know where I would be without climbing, I don't think.
Yeah. So it's your therapy.
Yeah, it is really a cliche, but it is kind of like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, my medicine. I think I've been self-medicating with climbing before I even knew I had ADHD for a long time.
Yeah. 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 No, I agree. I think when lockdown happened and COVID happened, I think there were a lot of climbers who were getting withdrawal symptoms from climbing, including me. Hence,
Mm.
I built a climbing wall, right? So I can get my hits of dopamine.
Yeah, yeah, I've been admiring that. It looks like a very good wall.
Yeah, it's all right. Yeah, yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah,
It's all right.
yeah.
Could be
It's
better.
well, it's all right. It's just that my friends aren't here when I climb, so and I think that the one thing I learned from lockdown was that like climbing, I absolutely love it and obsessed with it, um, and it is my therapy too. But I think most importantly, it means so much more when friends are around.
Yeah, I agree actually. I've only really been like joining the dots with that over the last year, like how important community is.
Yeah.
Like I really love being out on my own or just with like a select couple of people. But I think it is nice to also be connected to the community and like remember that we are all these kind of weirdos that like get each other and
Yeah, I'm glad you
kind of on
said
the
it.
same wavelength. Yeah, sorry everyone. You're all a
That's all
bit
right.
weird.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think there's like a time and a place for me for it. Like if I'm working something out and I just want the quiet, I'm happy to be on my own. But then I love a really psyched board session. Like I can't try as hard on the board as I can when there's a little like group of us super psyched and we're like cheering each other on and like having a bit of a laugh. Like, yeah, being silly and trying hard is so much easier with other people.
Okay. So
I mean,
that resonates with me too. I will try harder when I have an audience.
mhm.
Yeah, than if I just climb by myself.
Yeah, yeah, I think it is really hard to try hard. And some people are very good at switching it on, but I think yeah, it's slightly it's slightly easier to switch it on when there's someone else there.
Yeah.
And also if there's someone else there like trying a climb where you're what either the same as what you're trying or something next to it. So you kind of feed off each other and
Yeah.
you're psyched for them and they're psyched for you. And like sometimes you can be even more psyched for them trying hard than for you. I'm like, oh, I'm so invested in you doing this thing. Like, let's figure it out. Like, oh my God, you
Yeah.
are so close. And I'm like, I'm getting
Yeah.
like really into it.
Yeah.
Whereas, yeah, if you just climbed on your own, you would miss all that.
Yeah, it's quite inspiring, isn't it? When somebody, it doesn't matter what their climbing level is, when you can visibly and audibly hear someone trying really hard, it's quite inspiring, whether that's a
It's really
beginner or
inspiring.
advanced climber.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's one of the biggest, yeah, motivations for me. And it really doesn't matter how, like, the grade or how hard the move is. If someone's just like really getting into it, I'm just so invested
Yeah,
in what they're doing and I really want it for them.
yeah,
Yeah, way more impressive watching someone like trying really hard on like a font five than someone sort of being a bit blasé about a 7C, but they're trying. But yeah, I'm
yeah,
definitely
yeah,
more invested in the person like on the five that really wants it and is
yeah,
just giving it everything.
yeah. It's
Yeah,
inspirational.
yeah, I love it.
Yeah, yeah. So what attracts you? So we've talked about your the negatives you feel you have that you think or that you perceive ADHD to have for you.
Mhm.
What do you feel the positives are?
Oh, yeah, that's how we got onto it, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Oh, that we can be really passionate about something. We were
yeah,
saying about training and stuff. That when there's something I'm into, I'm like really into it, and I um I feel things very strongly. And again, that can be a negative, but when it's something like a positive emotion, I think that's really really great. Like I'm really excited about something when I'm excited. So if I'm like psyched for you and your project, like I'm the person you want to be there cheering you on because I'm like so invested, like I say.
yeah,
And like same for maybe empathy. Like I really feel if like both for myself but for someone else as well. I think that that's maybe a quality of someone you'd want as a friend, someone that really wants you to be all right. And I want to help you if you don't feel good, and I want to know why you don't feel good. And yeah, I
yeah.
feel that really strongly too.
Okay.
Just everything I feel strongly. And I think that can be a good thing,
Yeah.
just in general. More to do with climbing, being able to hyper focus is a good thing
Yeah.
because I want to focus on this thing, therefore the hyper focus is a good thing.
Yeah.
And I have ADHD, so autism and ADHD. I
Okay.
think if I was to have a split, I would say I'm like 70-30 for more ADHD, but I definitely have um, autistic traits as well. I think there's
Okay.
I can't remember the stat, but it's maybe 70% of people with ADHD also have autism.
Yeah. Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
but oh, I've lost my train of thought now. What was I saying? Oh, the benefits, yeah. Yeah, being able to hyper focus on climbing and yeah, put a lot of myself into it, and also being able to analyze if I can't do something. So that's what I would think is maybe the slightly autistic part of me.
Okay.
I can like really focus with the ADHD, and then if I can't quite make something work, I can really analyze why, like
Yeah.
really hyper focus on why I can't do it and
Okay.
figure it out. I think it makes me quite tenacious.
Yeah.
I don't give up very easily because I'm yeah so invested in it.
Okay. So have you
And I
had
think yeah,
a
yeah.
diagnosis for autism?
No, well,
No.
sort of. So I've had a diagnosis for ADHD, and then my psychiatrist, I've done like all the questionnaires and stuff like that, and it's very likely I have it. But unfortunately, it's really hard to get a diagnosis of either of those through the NHS.
Yeah.
So you have to go private,
Yeah.
and it's very, very expensive
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
takes a long time. And if I was to go through the autism diagnosis, it would be very expensive, and I wouldn't really sort of get anything at the end of it. It would be like a
Yeah.
definite, but it wouldn't really change anything.
Yeah. I mean, what would
It
you
would
gain
just sort
from
of
it?
confirm what I already sort of probably know.
Apart
Yeah,
from
it's not really
maybe a
worth the money.
label.
Yeah, yeah. The
Yeah.
ADHD thing was definitely worth it because I just wanted to know for sure that I was different, and you can get medication for it. And yeah, it made more sense. It was sort of worth the money. But this extra one is sort of like, well, I kind of already know that I'm neurodiverse and I'm working on these bits, and there's a lot of like overlapping traits. So whether I have autism or not doesn't really
Yeah.
change anything, I don't think.
Yeah. My wife, she has ADD, so she doesn't have the hyperactivity part, and
Mm.
she also has autism. And it started off years ago as a joke, not like a malintent joke, but I remember being in the car with her and her dad was talking at me for the whole drive. And at the end of the day, I kind of made a joke about her dad having autistic tendencies based
Mm.
on no medical knowledge from my background. So she went off and researched it, and she did some questionnaires and found out that she was autistic. So the next day she told me that she was autistic, which
Mm.
like analyzing and her telling me as to the reasons why then makes a lot of sense. And I think
Yeah, yeah.
it's not so it's not to be able to put a label on it, it's to be able to understand, I guess, the communication that happens between myself and her, that sometimes things
Mm.
get missed or
Yeah,
misunderstood.
yeah, yeah, I think it's really good to know, like you say, in a like for yourself, but also in a relationship, because there are things that can get like confused as like misintentions, and yeah, you want to just be like, oh, this isn't what I meant. I was very black and white, I was very blunt, and
Yeah.
that's just how I was. Like, it's not, it doesn't mean I don't love you. Like,
Yeah.
that's not
Yeah.
what I meant. It's not that
Yeah.
I'm not interested.
Yeah.
Yeah,
See,
I can
but
see why that's really important.
I love that straightness and that bluntness.
I'm kind of like that.
Yeah, I mean, I my parents are Dutch, born and bred in Belgium, and then I moved to the UK when I was 15. So as I guess I think of myself as a Dutch person, and we're quite straight talking. And
Mhm.
having lived in the southern part of the UK, so in England, people don't say what they think. And I've had to try to analyze and learn the behavior of English people. And I still get confused to this day. So I've been living here for 31 years, and I
Mhm.
still get confused with what they mean with what they say, because
Mm.
what they say isn't what they mean.
Oh, I feel you. That's how I feel being neurodiverse, talking to a lot of neurotypical people. I'd find it easier if people just said what they thought, and
Yeah,
then I can just do my best with that.
yeah.
Like, even if you don't like me, just
Say it.
let it be known. Yeah, like that's fine. Not everyone's cup of tea.
Yeah,
Yeah, I hate like I call it like mind games, I guess, trying to guess what someone's intention is and they said a nice thing, but they didn't mean a nice thing. Why
yeah.
didn't they just say a not nice thing? And it takes too much brain space. I have like limited brain space. Can we just,
Get
yeah,
to the point.
can we just be honest? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I
I find
completely
that easier.
agree. Yeah. So I get, and you said that you think you're different, but I
Mm.
think most people feel that they're different, right?
Mm, yeah. People, everyone wants to think they're special, don't they? I mean, everyone is
Uh,
special, but
everyone is different, but
yeah,
yet we're still the same.
yeah, yeah, same but different. I
Yeah,
think maybe it's something to do with like with the neurodiversity thing, you kind of maybe don't always feel like you fit in.
yeah,
Like you say, maybe you don't understand why you don't get the secret meanings that people are doing, or like,
yeah,
yeah, I don't know, even like socializing. I find socializing, even though I can really enjoy it, it takes a lot of beans,
yeah,
and I only have a certain amount of beans. And even if it's like a social thing I really want to do, I find it really tiring afterwards.
yeah,
It might not seem it in the moment, but afterwards it takes a lot.
yeah,
And that used to always wind me up as well. Be like, well, I've done this thing that I really enjoy doing, and now I'm exhausted. Like, why am I so tired? I haven't done anything.
yeah,
Like, why? Like, my friends are now messaging and want to meet up today. Like, how? What do they mean? Like, how are we meeting today? You all not like really tired from yesterday?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
yeah, there's
I
just
guess
some little thing.
it's being overstimulated, right?
Yeah, yeah.
With sensory input.
Yeah, that's another thing that can be a pro and a con for yeah being neurodiverse. That a lot of things are quite overwhelming or yeah overstimulating. Like I'm really sensitive to noise, and yeah, that can be really overwhelming.
Yeah,
But then also I think because that's quite a heightened sense for me, if if there's a noise that I really like or if there's something I want to tune into, I'm like I can really enjoy it. But then
yeah,
if there's too much of it, it's too much.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And like same for touch as well. I'm a bit weird with the touch sense, like being like irritated by something on my clothes or something. And it can like
Okay.
almost put me in a bad mood
Yeah,
until
okay.
I'm like, oh, it's because I had a tickly ticket. I'm sorry, that's why I was grumpy.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Yeah, I don't understand, but it resonates because my wife tells me that she likes a particular type of clothing that I guess
Mm.
that stuff that's tight because she feels that it hugs her and she feels
Mm.
secure.
Yeah, yeah, that's a thing. Oh, I can't remember the sciencey word. Something perception, but basically,
Proprioception.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's the word. Thank you.
All
You're
right.
my science word man.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that's why like lying on the floor, like the pressure
Yeah.
is good. So like if you're overstimulated, just like lying down on something really hard, not a bed, like on the floor is
Yeah.
good. Or like a weighted blanket or like a really tight hug.
A weighted
Yeah.
blanket. Yeah.
Weighted blanket, yeah, yeah.
I know.
This is weird.
Well,
I used
look,
to
my wife's got one, and she'll have it in bed, and it might be the middle of the summer, like 25 degrees in our room, and yet she's got a duvet and that blanket on top of her, and I'm like, oh my God, that's
just
so hot.
feels so good. It's good. Yeah. If your wife's having a bad time, just give her like an overly tight hug, just like squeeze
Okay.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've
Okay.
also heard that like pushing really hard against a wall can help. I've not done it. I'm not in the habit of doing that, but
Pushing
I need to
walls.
remember that one. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm going to find a tree or something, like push really hard. Something just like helps you feel more balanced.
Okay. All right.
It's a bit weird, but
I'll try
we'll go
that.
with it.
I'll try not to hug it too hard.
Yeah, there's no such thing. Just smush her.
Yeah, yeah, cool, cool. So what is it? So what kind of disciplines are you into in climbing?
So I've tried all of them. I think up until recently, I bouldered mostly,
Yeah.
but I've done sport. I did quite a bit of trad at uni. Um, I never really had any major goals or anything. I just sort of went through the seasons, did a bit of sport when it was sunny,
Yeah.
did a bit of bouldering if that's what people were into. Happy to go out and do trad. I just sort of enjoyed climbing in general. Um, and a few years ago, I was quite ill and I got diagnosed with an autoimmune arthritis, and
Okay.
it came in flare ups. So I would be like really painful joints and like really, really tired and quite down with it and couldn't really climb at all. And then when I was well, I like really didn't want to take any of like any of my strength or my body or climbing in general for granted. And I actually got into training.
Okay.
So I wanted to have goals and I wanted to get stronger. And yeah, I think that's when I started to get into the sort of climbing that um, I'm most into, I suppose, rather than just like dabbling and going through all the disciplines and just seeing, just having a bit of whatever everyone else was doing. I wanted to get stronger and see how hard I could climb. So I was really into bouldering for a while, um, with the training, I guess.
Yeah.
But with that came, I got stronger and I found grades more annoying because I'm pretty sure I'm 5'2" and my span is 5'2". And I've always found things harder than my taller partners.
Yeah.
But I thought up until training that I had the excuse, oh, well, maybe I'm just weak as well.
Yeah.
But then when I started to train and got stronger, my stats for training might have been like stronger than my taller partners, but I would still struggle more on the same climbs.
Yeah.
And the stronger I got, the less grades made sense. Like I could find there's a, like two specific problems in mind that I did. There's like a 6C gritstone arete that took me quite a lot of sessions, and then there was a 7B gritstone arete that I did in a session.
Yeah.
And they're both known for being, they are what they are, that they're the grades. And my taller partner thinks the 6C is much easier than the 7B. And I'm thinking like, I'm physically strong, I'm flexible, I feel like I'm pretty creative. And this is just like wild. Like, how am I supposed to like have goals and measure progress on this system that's so wildly out for me?
Yeah.
And that's when I started to get into highballing, because I had to really reassess what it was I liked about climbing, because I found it so frustrating. I like nearly quit. I
Yeah.
hated it. I was like, what am I doing wrong? This whole thing doesn't like fit me. Um Sorry, I don't know if you can hear my dog
It's
crying.
right. I can hear your dog. He wants some attention.
Yeah, she's got a little belly out.
Yeah.
Sorry, there we are. Calm down, he does.
It's all right.
Yeah, yeah. So I tried to think like what it was about the climbs that really stood out to me, what it was about them that I enjoyed.
Yeah.
And quite a lot of them were high. So I sort of leaned into that after that. And after I did like one, intentionally I did a head point on a highball. That was sort of it for me. I was like, this is it. So I
Okay.
sort of went from a bit of everything to bouldering to then being like, this whole grade thing's not working. I don't just want to be a boulderer because it's very centered around grades.
Yeah.
I want to try and do something that's more fulfilling for me, and that's how I got into highballing, I think.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess that you're into highballing because the grades are, it's not so focused on grades.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. That's
Sorry.
right. Come to say hello.
Yeah. Yeah. So when I was trying to think what it was that I enjoyed about climbing, there's like parts of it that I wanted to focus on that weren't the outcomes, that weren't grades, that weren't all this like comparison that I found myself in. One of the big things for me is, like we spoke about, nature and beautiful
Yeah.
places, wild places.
Yeah.
So whatever climbing I was going to pick, it had to be somewhere beautiful and wild. Like it wasn't just going to be in the gym, and it probably wasn't going to be a crag with like a 5-minute walk in. I like the big walk-ins. All the nature's more naturey.
Yeah.
So it had to be somewhere wild, and I like trying hard and problem solving. But I mean, you can get that on sort of any type of climbing, I guess.
Yeah.
But one of the big things was I'm really inspired by a feature, like a big arete or a big bold prow, like a line, something. There's something like otherworldly or like timeless, or I don't know. Something, it makes you feel small and like a blip in this timeline when you see some big, like amazing feature. And I think some of the best features are quite high.
Yeah.
So that sort of goes with it, I guess. Yeah, just being super inspired by the line. And yeah, and then so that's what made me try it, the beautiful places and these like big, impressive, inspiring lines. And then when I actually got on one, I really liked the focus and the quiet that you have to have on a highball to not fall from where you don't want to fall from.
Yeah.
And then that just sort of like sealed the deal with it, really.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess how do you deal with, I guess, a couple of questions. How do you deal with the buildup of anxiety before you start on a highball problem?
So then if I've decided I'm going to go for it today, how would I deal with the anxiety before?
Yeah.
So I think acceptance is a big part of it.
Yeah.
That the nerves are a good thing. And even though they feel uncomfortable, it shows that it's important and that it's serious and that you do need to be in like this state of heightened awareness.
Yeah.
I think if you weren't worried, it would be weirder and could potentially be dangerous.
Yeah.
I think the most accidents happen, even just in bouldering or something that's seen as safe, when you're not paying attention and you're a little blasé about it. So I think the nerves before something that's potentially scary, they need to match the severity of what you're doing. If you are too casual about it, I don't think that would be good. So just accept they're there for a good reason. And by this point, I've probably already done the risk assessment and I've weighed up that I do want to do it and this is the right decision. So the nerves on the day, I'm going to accept them, but I'm also going to kind of ignore them a little. Like I've already made quite a mindful decision, trying to get like accidentally getting wrapped up in these nerves and making that like change my decision. It's kind of pointless. It's not. Yeah. Like I know they're going to be there. I'm going to accept them when they are there. And then I guess the next part is to control them if you can. And I use like breathing techniques. I just try and slow my breath down. I think is it the parasympathetic sigh, like the double inhale and the exhale.
Yeah.
I do quite a bit of that, like literally just before I'm about to go. I'll
Yeah.
a few times. I try and like bring myself into myself again rather than like worrying about what might happen or what has happened before, like, or maybe my foot slipped on that before, or what if it slips again? And I try not to think about any of that. I'm just trying to be present.
Yeah.
And I'll probably look where I am. Being somewhere wild and beautiful in nature makes this one really easy because I can just look around and be like, oh, I'm so grateful to be here. Like, it's beautiful. And there's so many things I can look at and focus on to bring me into this moment. Like the green butterflies on the heather, or the vapor trails from some planes in the sky, or whatever it is, something in my surroundings that can like bring me to now.
Yeah.
So the breath, being present and grateful.
Yeah.
And then something that I find really useful that's part of my own personal ritual is I always highball to music, just one earphone.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
cool.
So if
I
you
love
look at
that.
any of my pictures or any videos, literally everyone, I think there's one that I forgot it on, and that was a learning experience.
Okay.
But I try to always have music just in one ear so that I'm still present. And like if I need to say, oh, watch me here to my spotter, or my spotter needs to say, oh, I can't quite move the mat, I'm still here.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
But I
Okay.
have the music in and it just takes the edge off for me. And
Yeah.
like I was saying, I'm quite sensitive to noise. This
Yeah.
is where that sensitivity
Oh, yeah.
becomes good.
That's
Yeah, you're like,
cool. I
oh
love
yeah.
that. So I love that, the listening to music whilst climbing. Um yeah,
Yeah.
I can relate to that. I think last year I went and climbed a load of stuff in the Peak District, and so I'd set myself the challenge to climb all the starred VS routes on Stanage, and I climbed. I think I got about halfway and started to get tired and distracted by noise.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd put my headphones on and listen to music and just like just cruise the rest of it.
Nice.
And it
Oh, I
was,
love that you understand it because a lot of people haven't tried it and they're like, oh, that's kind of weird. Like, yeah, that would take me away from what I'm doing. But you get that it's like, yeah, did it
uh,
like bring you in
it's
sort of thing?
just incredible. Like so something else I learned. I went to university, and when I study, and still now when I do work, I put music on, and
It's a game changer.
it distracts it distracts like something in my mind, and I don't know what it is, and it allows me to focus more on what I'm doing.
Ah, yeah, 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 yeah. So I can't do silence because there never is silence unless you're in like an anechoic chamber. There is no silence.
Yeah,
So yeah, you need something to focus on, but not so much that it's taking you away from what you're doing. So like
yeah,
when I'm working, I always either listen to music or listen to like a comfort show, like a show like The Office that I know every episode. I don't need to watch it and see what's happening. It's just in the background is like something.
yeah,
So I wonder if
yeah,
that's sort of similar to you with the music that like, yeah,
yeah,
like a low level stimulation in a way that
yeah,
helps you like switch
and I
on.
focus so much more and so much better. And I think in
Mhm.
climbing, if I could have headphones on all the time, it'd just be so much better because I would distract my thinking part of my brain and just
Mhm.
get me to do what I'm doing.
Yeah, but that's exactly what it is. So,
Yeah,
um, yeah, especially in things that I'm head pointing where I already know I know the sequence and I know I want to do it and this is it. Those like little unhelpful thoughts that are like bringing, like taking you out of
yeah,
the present, they're
yeah,
not going to help. They're not going to help you climb well.
yeah,
So put in just an earphone in just so that like a playlist that's kind of happy, like makes me feel
yeah, yeah,
good,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
just takes the edge off and allows me to, it like brings me into this like little bubble.
Yeah,
And then also, I'm not, if there's like a grouse suddenly cackling over there, I'm not like, oh, what's that? I'm like,
yeah,
no, I'm in this like little space.
yeah,
Yeah. And I think it like lifts my mood as well. I
yeah,
think
yeah,
the music you listen to influences your mood.
yeah,
So if
yeah,
I'm moonboarding, I'll have like a more psych playlist and that like makes me feel that sort of way.
yeah,
And then when I'm highballing, something kind of happy, something maybe like, yeah, that I want to have a like a little jiggle to
yeah.
makes me, yeah. I think it just takes the edge off of it. Oh, it's cool
Okay.
that you do it too. Like
Yeah,
oh,
yeah,
you
love it.
understand
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. So what's your music of choice?
Oh, people ask this. It depends. It changes quite a lot. So
Okay.
I make little playlists for the climb I'm gonna do.
Okay.
And yeah, it will change depending on what I'm listening to because
Okay.
I get bored of songs, I
Okay. Yeah.
suppose.
Of course. Yeah.
So I keep it fresh. There's lots of different playlists I've got in there,
Okay.
but
So
always something that makes me happy.
okay, what music are you into? Very personal question. You don't have to answer it if you don't want to.
Oh, someone asked me this yesterday, actually, and it's quite broad.
Okay.
I think it's more what am I not into? I'm
Okay.
into a bit of everything and it changes, but probably not like super heavy metal or like super dancey.
Okay.
Or maybe not, I was going to call it cringy pop. That's not very fair. Um, maybe not too boy bandy pop.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like maybe like indie stuff. I quite like Kings of Leon. I've liked Kings of Leon for forever.
Okay.
That sort of thing. But again, just anything that I hear
Yeah. I've
that
heard of
I'm
them.
into. Yeah, they're very good. They're on my playlist at the minute.
So what's the
But
most
yeah.
played song in your playlist?
Oh, there was one on my Wrapped last year. What's it called? I think it's called Josie Edwards. Good Girl was the song, and it was one. It was just like super catchy.
Okay.
Um, yeah, you'll maybe have to listen to it. But I think anything Kings of Leon at the minute are probably my most played. But I have
Okay.
such a varied playlist that changes all the time
Okay.
that I don't really have most played. It'll change quite often. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, one thing that's worth mentioning is I always have to like go through my playlist before the day that I'm highballing to check that it doesn't have the word fall in there. You'd be surprised how many
Okay.
songs say falling, falling for you, fall. Yeah. The last thing you want to be tuning into and hyper focusing on when you're about to set off is someone singing
Okay.
about falling.
Okay.
So no.
Okay. See, I listen to the melody. I rarely listen to the actual words.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just the tune, the beat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you go back to a lot of music I listened to when I was younger, there's a lot of like American hip hop in there. I mean, some of the
Hmm.
stuff that they're rapping about, I don't kind of agree with, but it was a lot of the melodies they were using. I really enjoyed that.
Hmm. Oh,
Yeah.
that's cool. Yeah, that's probably one of the things that I go from why my music is so varied, I think.
Yeah.
And I often don't think about the lyrics up until I'm about to go, and then I have to like the
Yeah.
night before just double check that none of the lyrics mention falling because we just don't want that surprise when we're mid
Yeah.
route.
Okay. Okay.
There was a song I was really into before I did like a big climb last year. I can't remember the lyrics, but it was literally quite literal about falling and dying and stuff.
Okay.
But it was like a really catchy melody, and I
Yeah.
absolutely loved the song. And then I was like, oh, I can't. It was talking about falling and dying.
Yeah.
No, no,
No,
that can't be
not a
on
good
there.
choice. No.
No, I
Okay.
think I ended up. I thought it was really funny, and I took it off, and I think I put it back on in the end because I just thought it was so funny, like
Yeah.
the irony in it. So it ended up back on it, but yeah.
No. And then you sent it.
When I sent it, yeah, I didn't fall and die because we're here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Nice. Nice. Cool. So I guess so have you ever been on a I guess we're talking about highballing. Have you ever been on a highball where all of a sudden your mind gets distracted from being in the moment and how do you bring yourself back in?
Yeah, that does occasionally happen. And I think it's sort of a similar mindset to when I feel the nerves that there's like a little bit of subconscious acceptance, like, okay, fair enough, of course, you've got distracted, you're doing something kind of scary,
Yeah.
and then bringing it back with similar sort of tools. So if I'm at a rest, breath is a big one.
Yeah.
if it's sort of in the moment, it'll just be like almost I'll just like tell myself like focus on this move, or it'll be more specific. So I'll just say, I don't know, hips to the left or knee in or something. I've got like little cues for each move in
Okay.
my head. And as soon as I notice a like wandering thought, I know to switch straight to whatever the movement is.
Yeah.
And I'm aware that it might happen. So I know what to do already, if that makes sense. So it's
Yeah.
not a surprise.
Yeah.
If
So
I'm
you're
suddenly like, oh God, I'm quite high, I'm like, right, hips in
yeah. So you're using instructional
straight away.
motivation. It's called
Yeah.
instructional motivation, where you tell yourself you instruct yourself to do something
Hmm.
to
Yeah.
distract
Yeah.
from the thinking part of your brain.
Yeah. And I think just having that self-awareness of knowing that it might happen
Yeah.
helps.
Yeah.
Because I think if you get in that situation and you've not really thought, oh, I might think this, suddenly you're there and you're thinking it, and then that's when you start to spiral, and then that's when it's not helpful. So if you're
Yeah.
aware this might happen, this is what I'm going to do if it does happen.
Yeah.
You already know what to do, and
Yeah.
like rationally, I guess there's no point in that moment spiraling and wondering about things that aren't happening right now, because that's not going to help you at all.
Yeah.
The safest thing to do is to do what you're doing
Yeah.
and do it
Yeah.
as best you can, as you did on a rope, or as best you can in like a calm, controlled way without over tensing and
Yeah.
gripping. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And I guess when you're highballing, to have a good spotter as well.
Yes, risk assessment's a big thing in highballing. Make sure
Yeah.
you've got a good spotter, or
Yeah.
pads. Make sure. Yeah, that's actually probably a thing that I'm quite meticulous with my pads, and like talking to my spotter about if they're going to move and what's going to happen
Yeah.
before I get on.
Yeah.
Because again, you don't want to be midway up going, did I put the pad in the right place? Like, is my spotter watching? You
Yeah.
want to like not even have that go through your
Yeah.
mind. You want to be like, right, I know the pads are really good. There's
Yeah.
literally no point thinking about it. It's done. That's done now. No use.
Yeah.
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 Good
Yeah.
pads, good
Yeah.
spot.
Yeah. Yeah, completely agree. And I guess it's the same in rope climbing, isn't it? You do all your checks
Mm-hmm.
before you set off,
Mm-hmm.
and then you
I
make
am
sure you've
tied
got,
in.
yeah, you are tied in, and your harness is on, done well properly, and your
Yeah.
belay has checked you, because I guess when you just before you
Mm-hmm.
set off, the nerves kick in, and you might be distracted because you're thinking about the route and not
Mm-hmm.
about your harness or the rope, and having a good belayer.
Yeah. And the same for even like placing gear, I imagine. Like when you put a bit of gear in, really say to yourself, this gear is good. I know it is good. So when you're 3 meters above your last bit of gear and you're like, oh, was that last bit good? You're like,
Yeah,
yes, we checked it. It is good. Right. Let's
yeah, yeah.
focus on what we're doing.
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah.
completely agree. I think it's a great way when you go trad climbing is to take those few seconds to really look at your gear and tell yourself why that gear is good or why that gear
Mm-hmm.
maybe isn't good, so that you
Mm-hmm.
can think about what to do next.
Yeah. Yeah. And you have the facts and you're aware of them rather than
Yeah,
then.
rather than letting emotion dictate.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, I haven't done a lot of climbing recently, but it's something I think is maybe one of the next steps for me. And
yeah,
yeah, that sort of thing I'm gonna pay attention to,
cool.
be mindful of. Yeah.
Yeah, nice, cool. Have you had any near misses in highballing?
Mm, yeah, a couple. So yeah, I think it's good to like be able to think on your feet as well.
Yeah,
So I think with head pointing and rehearsing a sequence, like executing the sequence is the biggest thing. But I think having like just getting out and doing a lot of climbing and knowing how you move on the rock and knowing where you are with like your strength and your movement at the minute and how you're feeling and what holds can you hold, and just having that like backlog of movement in there is really useful, because if you get somewhere and suddenly you're wrong footed, you want to be confident that you can get yourself out of a situation.
Yeah.
I think. Whereas if you only rely on the sequence and suddenly something's happened and you're wrong footed, now we're going to panic because I have no idea what I can do.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, a big source of confidence for me is how much I'm like moving on rock at the minute. I
Yeah.
try and climb quite a lot outside.
Yeah.
Because I've had it before where I have ended up being wrong footed on something because like leading up to it, I've had to adapt in the moment, like maybe my hand. So on one of them, there's one called Hang the Gallows High that I did last year as part of Brit Rock actually. And I ended up with my hand slipping on the arete. So I had to put my foot on quicker than usual,
Yeah.
which meant that my foot wasn't on properly and that was slipping. So I had to put my other foot on quicker than usual. And then suddenly I ended up in the middle with my feet wrong and I was off sequence. And that could have been a real moment of panic for me.
Yeah.
And it was definitely like a no fall climb. It was more of a solo than a highball really.
Yeah.
And even though that experience wasn't what I intended it to be, it was a really good learning moment for me because I realized I don't panic in those situations. I can be quite right, what are we doing now to solve this? And I do have a lot of like experience in my book now, I guess, my little chapters of experience that I knew what to do in that situation. And even though I was off sequence, I was confident enough in my strength in my hands that I could hang around for a moment and figure it out. And I was confident enough on my feet that I could like figure out what I was doing and it was going to be all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think because I think that could have been potentially kind of dangerous.
Yeah.
And a really, really bad experience if I reacted differently then.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess you had a massive repertoire of experience in managing your emotions in lots of different situations, which helped you in that moment.
Yeah. Yeah. And just knowing that, sort of knowing what I can do on rock as well, rather than being there and being like, oh my gosh, can I trust that foot? Or like, I don't know, can I hold that and see what's going to happen? Like, I know I can hold this, I can hold that. That looks good. That's all right. Like, being sort of confident in your own ability, I think.
Yeah, because I guess you spend a lot of time on gritstone. Is that right?
Yeah, my favorite.
Yeah, it's a very particular style of climbing, right? You do have to trust what looks like almost just a ripple in, or almost what looks like nothing on a piece of rock. Just a little ripple, and you've got to trust your foot on that, or you've got to trust your hand on it.
Yeah, I think I found gritstone. I sort of almost hated gritstone for a long time, but I think climbing on grit is probably one of the best things you can do for like getting better as a climber because it teaches you so much. Like there's so many bad holds and it's so like knacky. Like if you move your hips slightly, that might just be the game changer. That might keep you on. It's so body positioning and like technical that you have to be kind of techy and strong. And I think that's made me so much of a better climber from climbing on grit. And because it's really difficult, it's made me a better climber, I think. And it's made me like more tenacious and a little more stubborn. And I think I would always recommend someone spends a good amount of time on grit. And the fact that a lot of people hate grit is maybe a sign that they need to do more grit because they find it so hard. But that means there's so much to learn, right? It's difficult.
Yeah. So are you quite stubborn?
Yeah, I would say so. Tenacious. We'll go with tenacious. But yeah, probably stubborn.
Yeah.
I think, like I say, I think you have to be on grit, especially as someone who's short. It's very rare for me to be able to do the obvious sequence.
Yeah.
And if I wasn't as stubborn or tenacious,
tenacious,
I wouldn't really be tenacious. We'll go with tenacious. That's better. Yeah, I wouldn't do like any of the things that I've done.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to be very persistent.
Yeah.
I think that's another great quality to
Yeah. Yeah.
have,
Yeah.
right?
Sticking power.
What power?
Sticking power.
Sticking power. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, definitely. You need a lot of sticking power on grit,
Yeah.
both in your brain and your feet and your hands, and
I guess,
yeah,
yeah, that's maybe where the obsessive also comes in, right? Stub being
I think
obsessive and
so.
stubborn helps.
Yeah, and if it's something I'm passionate about and I'm psyched by the line, psyched by where I am,
Yeah.
I find it easy to be obsessive
Yeah.
about it. I
Yeah.
just really want to be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Nice. So you mentioned autoimmune arthritis, is that right? What
Yeah.
what is that?
So I have a reactive arthritis, and basically my immune system just attacks itself in various places, often my joints, it's attacked my skin. I've had like my heels swell up for a bit. It can be a little bit random. It's always my joints, and I always feel tired, but it can also attack like random bits.
Okay.
And it's brought on, I guess, when my immune system kicks in. So if I get a cold or something, I have to be very careful that it then doesn't trigger a flare up. I spent quite a while just before I was getting diagnosed being ill on every holiday I went on, because I had two jobs, and before I went on holiday, everyone would want everything doing.
Yeah.
So I'd be really stressed and
Yeah.
workloads and maybe not be taking care of myself as well as I should, not sleeping enough,
Yeah.
hyper focusing and not drinking enough water and eating enough and stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, I would be ill because of all the stress. I guess that would just like kickstart my immune system. Then my immune system doesn't know what's going on and it just attacks itself.
Yeah.
Yes, every climbing holiday I went on for about a year, I was just ill. It was very frustrating.
Okay. Sorry
But
to hear that.
yeah, I've sort of got it under control, I think, now. Touch
Okay.
wood.
Touch wood,
Mostly,
man.
yeah. So I still have flare ups, but they're less frequent.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's what it is.
So that's something that you can't get rid of?
So with the type that I have, there is a chance that it'll just eventually go away on its own.
Yeah.
But there's also a chance I'll have it forever.
Okay.
We're just sort of seeing. Whilst I was getting diagnosed with it, I was in a flare up more than not. So I was mostly ill, and then there'd be a few weeks of being all right, and then repeat. And that's why I went through the whole diagnosis process. I can have like strong anti-inflammatories that helps sometimes calm it down. If it's really bad and it's not going away, I get an intramuscular steroid injection, and that helps. But I found the best thing is just to try not to get into a flare up because it's hard to get out of one.
Okay.
So that's, yeah, trying to eat fairly well.
Yeah.
I don't drink much alcohol anymore because that's a big inflammatory.
Yeah.
Trying to manage my workload so that I'm not silly stressed every day for a long time.
Yeah.
Trying to sleep a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
That's
trying not to get, if everyone, all my friends have colds and coughs and things, let me know because I'm probably going to give that a miss.
yeah, yeah,
I'm
okay.
not going to try and not get lots of colds.
And I guess you do you have to manage your recovery times as well after like some hard climbing sessions?
Um, I should.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the stubborn, tenacious side of me comes in more and forgets that I
Yeah,
might get ill. So I'm more
yeah,
likely to do the opposite.
yeah,
I'm more likely to ignore those things and be like, oh, but it's good conditions today, so we're going out again. I've got no skin and I'm probably tired, but I'm going to go anyways.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah, okay.
that's when I should rest, but I
Okay.
don't do that.
Okay.
Do as I say, not as I do. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. Yeah. Make sure everyone rests.
Yes, everyone rest. Don't do what I
Yeah.
do.
So I guess so I don't know if you get one of those flare-ups, then do you just have to rest and then your body kind of manages it?
Yeah, pretty much. I always feel kind of down when I can feel it coming on. I just feel very like feel very flat. It feels like wading through mud a little bit. And
Yeah,
I'm very energetic normally. Like I say, I'm like very psyched and very intense with my emotions. So yeah, feeling flat is not very me. And
yeah,
I kind of get kind of down. I can feel one coming on because I'm like, oh no, like I want to do my project, or like I don't want to be inside.
yeah,
Because I know when it fully kicks in, even if I'm super psyched and I want to do something, it's going to make me flat and it's going to suppress the psych, and I'm not going to be able to have that get up and go.
yeah,
Um, and yeah, the best thing is to just like bring it down and not push through it. And like, I mean, when I'm really in a flare up, I can't push through it, is what it is. It's sort of like forced rest. Feel
yeah,
kind of down about it, but like try and remember that it will pass and there will be more nice days. And just because everyone's out at the weekend doesn't mean you can't get out the weekend after or the one after. And
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, again, trying to accept it is what it is. And
Yeah, I guess that can feel quite lonely, right?
mm,
Yeah,
yeah, definitely. Yeah. And it, because it, I feel flat and not myself. Yeah, like it's maybe easy to spiral a little bit and be like, oh, it's just me feeling down and
yeah,
flat and poorly. But actually, there's loads of people feeling like that all the time.
yeah.
Like,
But
you
then,
never know what anyone's going through, do you?
yeah, but then you can't have your medicine, right? Your medicine being climbing.
Exactly. That's the thing
Um,
that like regulates me and
yeah,
like, yeah, gives me my dopamine.
yeah,
So sad.
yeah. I mean, I'm the same with I'm the same when I've had injuries.
Oh
And
God, yeah.
not being able to climb, that kind of puts me into that same kind of mindset that you've experienced, and especially like I've had a few injuries where I haven't been able to climb for maybe about a month, and for me, that's a really long time. And then your
That is a
friends,
long time.
yeah, I mean, your friends going out climbing, or you hang out with them and they're climbing, but you can't,
Mm,
and it's
that's
yeah,
hard.
feels lonely.
Yeah,
Lonely
yeah,
place to
it's really
be.
hard.
Yeah.
I sometimes think that I should have more passions in other areas. Like there's bits I dabble in, but I sometimes think I should
Yeah,
get into something else as
yeah,
well. So at some point, I'm either going to be in a flare up or injured. Again, touch wood, I'm not.
yeah,
But and if climbing is your everything, that's why we feel so lost, right? When we can't do it, we're like, this is my entire identity. Like,
yeah,
what am I going to do? But again, yeah, at the minute I just dabble in other things and I'm like, well, if that ever happens, I'll get a hobby then.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
fine at the minute.
yeah. I mean, climbing is my everything. So I feel what you're feeling.
Yeah, we just have to do our best to prehab, don't we? Make sure we don't get injured.
Yeah, but
And
I guess climbers will always find a well, like they always find a
a
way
way to get
around it,
injured,
right? Find a
a
way,
way to climb or a way to get injured.
where a way to get around things somehow, like
Mhm.
using a cheat code. We try.
Yeah, yeah, drop a pulley or
Yeah,
just try and do no-handed slabs or one-footed or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah. So
Yeah.
so so we've talked about what motivates you in climbing, which I guess is being in nature and I guess yeah, being in nature and being in the moment. How do you deal with failure?
That's a tough one. Yeah, I find it depends what you call failure, right?
Yeah,
How you
define
define
failure.
it. Yeah. So I think that's why another reason I wanted to get away from grades and putting so much of my worth on grades.
Yeah,
And since I've got into highballing, the grade matters a lot less to me because I'm just so psyched about where I am. I'm so inspired by the line. Whether it's a 5 or a 7, I'm not really that bothered. If it's hard for me, it's a challenge.
yeah,
It's a great line. Like
yeah,
I'm going to be psyched either way. And like when I'm working it out, maybe it's frustrating and I wish I was taller and all these things. But yeah, if you're just motivated and happy to be there, I find it takes you away from the grade a bit, and like I'm less attached to it.
Yeah.
And I think that's sort of the same with failure. So if you're out there and you really want to be there, it like there isn't a failure, is there? Like if I get on a climb that I'm psyched by and I can't do any of the moves yet, can't do them
Yet.
yet.
I like the yet bit.
Yet. It's not a failure because I've got to hang around on a rope on this climb that I'm psyched by in a
Yeah.
place that I love being,
Yeah.
away from like the noise and the stress and all these other bits that I struggle with. Like that isn't a failure. That like
Yeah.
I don't really know what could be a failure.
Yeah. I mean, it's
Like
it's
even I'm
it's a,
trying to think.
it's a trick question, isn't it?
Yeah, because I'm trying to think of what like the classic failure. Failure would be you have like a certain grade aim and you don't climb that grade within the time or something.
Yeah.
But I'm not really that bothered about that. So
Yeah.
that's
I,
that gone. And then like I'm even thinking like what if what would a failure look like to me? Maybe I try a high ball and I break my leg on it. Like I mean that's a big fail, but it
but
isn't. It's a learning opportunity, isn't it?
it's a learning opportunity, right? Even if you
There
do
isn't a
break your
failure.
leg, you're learning, right? You're
Yes,
learning that like there's obviously something that happened up to that
yeah,
point. And I guess if you can analyze the
which we would.
things that went well and the things that didn't go well, you can kind of go, okay, well, these things didn't go well. What can I do next time to improve that? And then
Exactly.
you're learning.
Yeah, exactly. And there's probably a silver lining in there that maybe you get really strong fingers while you've broken your leg, and then
Yeah.
maybe that opens the door to some other project that you found too hard before.
Yeah.
Like, I think I'm maybe quite a glass half full sort of person. So
Are you?
I find it hard. Yeah, I think I am.
Okay.
I find it hard to think of what a failure would be. So how do I deal with failure?
I think it
I
was a
guess
trick
I
question
don't
from
see
me.
I yeah, I don't
Yeah.
see failure. That's how I deal with failure.
You can't see failure.
Yeah, don't see failure, and then
Yeah.
you don't have to.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's how you
yeah,
deal with it.
yeah. But I guess your focus, you noticed when you were bouldering that your focus was on grades, and you've now moved on
Mm.
to highballing when your focus isn't grades, your focus is on being in some cool places, but also into trying something that you personally find hard and that you're gonna find a way through that problem. Whatever like no matter what the number attached to that climb is. And again,
Yeah.
like climbing is so individual, right? You could be on a climb and it could feel super hard, but you could be on a climb that's graded at something higher and find it easier. It's so
Mhm.
personal.
Yeah, I think if you can step away from a lot of these like external outcomes and like the pressures that maybe other people, maybe ourselves, like put on each other, like taking a grade, getting a send video, all these things, like extrinsic motivators. If you can try and not put too much of your self-worth and your focus on those,
Yeah.
I think, yeah, yeah, you sort of end up getting rid of like these ideas of failure and and rubbish because I've not done this or that, and
Yeah.
there that isn't really a thing anymore. I don't
Yeah.
think.
Yeah. So my focus for the last so many years has been, did I give it everything I've got? Did I try my hardest on that one move on that route, or did I just let go? Did I give up, or could I have given any more? And if I could have given more,
Yeah.
then I'm like, okay, well, let's try and do something that means I can give it more. And if I have given it everything I've got, doesn't matter whether I get to the top or not. I'm like, cool, brilliant, love it.
Boom. I love that. That's a much better like metric for success, isn't it? Like today is a good day if I just tried really hard. And then all you have to do is try really hard. And
Yeah,
that's it. It doesn't really matter because there's so many things. Um, if you're like, oh, well, if I don't climb this many routes or I don't do this grade today, then I've failed. like it's not always in your control. Like the conditions, or maybe you're tired, or maybe you've had a big week at work and actually mentally you're not there today. There's like too many other like external factors
Yeah.
that you need to rely on. So if you like drop the bar a little bit and you're like, my only thing today is I want to have fun with my friends and go to a new crag, then you've already won. Or I just want to try really hard.
Yeah.
You've already, yeah, you're setting yourself up for success. And I
Yeah.
also think that I think the biggest gains come from being really happy. And if you enjoy what you're doing and you're happy, I think all these other things like improving technique and getting stronger and being more mentally resilient and braver and all these things that you might want to be on paper, I think if you're happy, I think it's easier to do those things. Like I think there's even been like studies on happiness, and if you're happy, you're more likely to be resilient and try harder, and even things like coordination is improved, and like there's so many benefits of just enjoying what you're doing.
Yeah.
So if your measurement for success on that day is I just want to try hard and have a nice time, you're probably going to do all these other little bits that secretly you want to do as well.
Yeah. 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 But they're not the salt. They're not your focus.
Yeah, you just do them by accident and suddenly you're stronger, more technical, braver, etc.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, they just happened as a nice byproduct to
Yeah.
having a nice time.
Yeah. Cool. So what's the dream for you?
The dream. Yeah, what's next? Oh,
That
there's
doesn't have to be climbing related. It could be anything.
so I have a huge, or several huge UKC wish lists of climbs that I want to do.
Okay.
I just want to keep doing what I'm doing
Yeah.
and do more good lines.
Yeah.
I want to keep getting stronger so that more lines are available to me. Not necessarily I want to train so I can climb blah blah grade.
Yeah.
Just the stronger I get, the more climbs are an option.
Okay.
Get stronger, do more cool lines, maybe do a little bit of trad and like use this highballing mindset that I've sort of gained over the last couple of years above gear and see, because again that would open a lot more climbs.
Yeah.
More climbs, more movement, more cool places.
Yeah.
I mean, ideally it would be nice to figure out a way to climb more. So somehow, I don't know whether that's sponsorship or whatever, so that I could do more of it. Basically, more lines, more cool places. Yeah, this isn't me getting into any of the hobbies, really, is it? This is me obsessing more.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
more climbing.
But I mean,
Yeah.
from an outsider looking in, I think what you're doing, and you've got a great Instagram profile, and I guess having done a few videos, not all I've seen. I've seen one of them. The other one currently got to pay for, and I'm being a climber's cheapskate. But I'm sure it's really good because the other one was really good. Is that I guess that just gets you exposure, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully someone will see me and be like, would you like some money to climb? And I'll be like, yes, please.
Or you can ask.
Could ask, yes,
Always
that's
ask, right?
true.
Yeah.
Could ask.
Working for
Who's going to ask
DMM.
for
Ask
me?
DMM.
Please, can I have some money?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think even if not, I'm just happy doing what I'm doing at the minute.
Yeah.
And yeah, every line that I tick, then I have more time to try another line. Yeah, there's stuff all over I really want to do. And I think the more I do it and the more I learn, the more things become available. And yeah, I just feel very, very optimistic.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so
I think you'll do it by the looks of what you do. What's been the most emotionally rewarding climb for you, and why?
there's a couple. So the first climb, I put a rope on after my little mini climbing crisis where I was like, oh, I'm never going to climb again. I hate it.
Yeah.
That one that stands out. That's I'll bet she does at Simon's Seat.
Yeah.
Because that was like a pivotal moment for me when I was like, oh, this is what I want to do.
Okay.
Um, I had like one that was like a definite no fall and not really a high ball, hang the gallows high. That's on Brit Rock that I did last year that I was mentioning. I had the little hand slip up and I was in the middle of the climb, like, oh no.
Yeah.
That was that stands out because I showed myself that I'm okay in those high pressure situations. That was like
Yeah.
quite an empowering moment for me.
Yeah.
And then another one that really stands out is one that I climbed on Monday. Actually, I sent my little project.
Cool.
It's a line called the Stone Room at Eastby.
Okay.
And it is my first E7 and first tech grade 6C. And grades don't really make sense to me. And I've done E4s that feel harder than E6s, and
Yeah.
it doesn't really make sense. But it is kind of nice to know that even the big boys find this one hard.
Okay.
It
Cool.
should matter.
Nice.
But it was the whole process. Sorry, it is
All
kind
right.
of. And the whole process of it was really rewarding. That
Yeah.
when I first went on it, it felt like an audacious goal. I couldn't reach any of the moves the way anyone else did, and I had to come up with a whole new sequence on it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I remember the first time where the normal crux is, I do like a weird sort of almost dynamic press into like a little mantle on this little hold.
Yeah.
I remember doing it for the first time on a rope and thinking that would be insane without a rope. Like it works, but there's not a chance I'm doing that.
Yeah.
To then having that nailed, doing that as part of the sequence. Just the whole thing was a journey.
Yeah.
Like there's all these cool little pebbles. The whole sequence is different. Like 2 weeks ago, I was thinking, oh, it's getting too warm. I'm either going to have to do this like now
Yeah.
or wait. And I'm quite keen to do it now.
Yeah.
But I snapped off one of my foot pebbles and got the biggest split on another pebble and like covered the whole pebble in blood. And it was like I was pretty much ready to go. And then that happened. And I was like, oh no, like, what have I done? To then getting back on it, figuring out a new sequence pretty quickly for that move, and
Yeah.
it all just clicking.
Yeah.
And again, what I was saying about like nature and everything, just it's been like my favorite place for a few months. It's so pretty. There's like a steam train in the background, and like the steam like billows over this like the shadows on the fields. And like every day I'm there, I've seen 2 barn owls. I've seen a tawny owl. I've seen a deer. I've seen a black rabbit. I've seen a farmer towing his wheelie bin with his 4x4. Like it's yeah, I just love being there. Like,
Yeah.
and when I sent it on Monday, it was amazing, but I kind of felt sad. Have you ever had that where you feel sad? Like it
Yeah.
feels like a breakup almost. Like,
Yeah.
thank you for the time we had, but we have to part ways.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
kind of feel sad
Think
now.
a lot of climbers are
But
like that, right? They become obsessed with something and then they move on to the next thing, to get obsessed with.
yeah, but it feels yeah, it's almost like I'm not ready to say goodbye.
Yeah.
But yeah, very rewarding. The whole thing was just yeah, I've learned so much on it, and it was just the process was the best thing. I just loved every day that I was there. Even when I was frustrated, like I would see the sunset and it was beautiful, and I was like, on paper that was a bad session on that, but I still had a really nice time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so that one stands out.
Yeah, isn't it amazing how that we can jump onto a route or climb or boulder and try and do some of the moves initially and think this is never going to work, and then somehow we pull out at some point, having played around on it, we pull it out of the bag.
Yeah, it's so cool, isn't it? I love
Yeah,
that. From
yeah,
thinking it's completely insane to like executing it and being like, yeah, past me would be so surprised at how smoothly I just climbed that.
yeah,
But yeah, it's addictive, isn't it? I think
yeah,
that's why we do it.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, what mental challenges do you feel that you have to work on in climbing?
I think I'm gonna always have to work on this comparison thing.
Yeah.
And being frustrated at my height is something I'm
Okay.
gonna always have to work on. I would like to say, like, even though I'm very optimistic and glass half full, and I have lots of tools to um, make me present and feel happy in what I'm doing, it still does crop up. Like maybe when I first get on a climb and I realize I can't reach between the main holds, I'm
Yeah.
so psyched to do this line, and I'm like, oh, only I was taller.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, I'm better than I was at not spiraling and not getting annoyed now. But it would be nice for me to not think about it at all and not care at all and it not
Yeah.
cross my mind, because it
Yeah.
does sometimes get me a little bit down.
Okay.
And I think social media and how bothered everyone is about grades um, makes all of that worse.
Does it?
Because for me, it does. Yeah, it seems like everyone mostly cares about, well, not everyone, a lot of people, a lot of the community are really absorbed in the grades
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
comparisons.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
my friend climbed this grade, so I want to climb this grade, or I want to one up them, or
Yeah.
someone only cares about this climb on Instagram because it's a certain grade.
Yeah. So
And yeah, I find that all very toxic. And
yeah.
the grading system doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
So to put all of my worth on that would make no sense, as I've found. But then the majority of people are still doing that. So it's easy to get swept up in it. And
Yeah.
I then have to remind myself, it doesn't work for you, it doesn't matter. But it's hard sometimes to not get swept up in it.
Yeah. 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 So
Grades in comparison. Yeah.
do you get a lot of negativity on social media for I don't know, for being short or for being a shorter climber doing some routes? I know I think social media can be, from my experience, can be a really toxic environment because everyone's got an opinion, and I, I guess, and when it comes to grades, my experience is that everything is so individual. Like I've tried to climb cracks before where I just can't get my fingers in, and
Mm.
I'm
Yeah, yeah.
having,
It's much harder then, yeah.
because they're too fat, which means that like if I can't get them in, then grade wise, that's going to feel a lot harder.
Yeah, yeah. I would say that is harder. Like in an ideal world, there would be a grading system that factors in different things like that, like
Yeah,
finger size. If there's a knee bar, like what's your shindex? Like what's your eighth index? Or
yeah, 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 completely.
yeah, like I'm not saying like strength or flexibility, because you could work on those a little bit.
Yeah,
Like again, you're going to be genetically
predisposition.
maybe more, yeah, to something,
Yeah,
but let's just pretend we're all the base level of flexibility and strength.
yeah,
If you do have really big fingers or a little span or whatever, I think that should be part of the grading system. And then
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think there's a thing called justice sensitivity that neurodiverse people experience quite a lot. And
Okay.
if something feels unjust, you feel it very strongly and you're quite
Yeah,
passionate about it. And
yeah,
I feel that the grading system is unfair.
yeah.
And I mostly don't think about it, but when I start to think about it, I'm like, "Oh, it's really annoying." And like, not just for myself, but for other people, for people with like disabilities and things like that. Like, yeah, I just find it really frustrating that we have this system that was made by a
Someone.
certain, yeah, like mostly taller men, and we're still following it. And
Yeah,
I think climbing should be for everyone, and the system we use to grade things and to guide ourselves to know what to try, that that doesn't fit everyone, and that to me is really unfair.
yeah, 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 yeah,
um yeah, I think on social media, like a lot of the time I get very positive feedback
yeah,
from people, say, like, I guess mostly women or smaller people being psyched
yeah,
that I have been tenacious and come up with a new solution.
yeah,
And
yeah,
loads of supportive men as well, just because they're like, oh, that's a cool line, nice one.
yeah,
Um, but I think sometimes I like putting a personal grade on something
Yeah.
because it feels um, irresponsible to pretend it's the same difficulty for my height as it would be for someone else. I
Yeah.
don't want someone short to try the line thinking, oh, I can climb whatever grade. And then it's actually way harder. And then they break their leg on it because I haven't said actually it's harder because you can't use half the holds.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I put a personal grade on something.
Yeah.
And just for myself to be like, yeah, I had to be stronger and more tenacious and everything on this. So like I would like a grade that fits my experience.
Yeah.
But I found that doesn't always get good feedback, and it's the people that fit the grading system that don't like me saying that.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah,
I
people
mean,
saying all sorts about it, basically.
social media, right? It's a good thing in one way, and it's it's covered in like shit in the other way as well.
It's covered in shit.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you're right. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, mm,
Everyone's like was it somebody? I'm going to swear just to warn everyone. But I think it's like assholes. Everyone's got one.
mm,
Yeah.
I was going to say that. I'm glad you said it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, it's
uh,
true.
and it's down to the individual experience. And I feel grading, like you say, is so individual. And you could climb, like I could jump on something, and because of my wingspan, I could reach past a certain move, which you might have to do 3 or 4 moves in between to get to the same point. And you might have to use lesser holds, which then makes it harder for you. And then the other way around might be if we're climbing something that's overhanging, because I'm so tall, my center of mass is further away from my hands and my feet, which means I'm going to have to pull harder. And then you might find some of those moves a bit easier.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And it does go both ways. I think a lot of the time it's harder if you're short on just the stuff that I'm climbing, like gritstone is very reachy.
Yeah.
And I'm not really doing little bunchy sit starts at the start of highballs. I mean, maybe I should. Maybe that's the new avenue for me, sit starts to all the highballs. But yeah, I think it would be nice if everyone just had a little bit more empathy and a bit more
Self-control.
I think yeah, and we're just it'd be yeah, self-control. It'd be nice if we just heard each other out and be
Yeah, yeah,
like, I don't get it, but tell me, and then you tell me about how hard it was, like why it's hard for you to get your long legs through this overlap, and I'm like, oh yeah, I get it. Like that is much harder. Yeah,
yeah,
you
yeah,
you should take the grade above because that took way more strength and like you were probably way like took you way more sessions.
yeah.
I think it'd be nice if we just listened to each other because it's meant to be fun. Like it's
Meant to be.
yeah, why can't we just be nice to each other about it and
Yeah,
yeah, hear each other out?
yeah.
Yeah, but you can't change everyone, can you?
No, you
So
can't. You can only change yourself.
exactly. So yeah, I need to work on that, not being as bothered about what people think if I put a personal grade on there and yeah, not
Yeah.
comparing as much, I suppose.
Yeah, but it's quite tough, isn't it? When you put yourself in the limelight, as in you put yourself out there in the public forum, I guess you are putting yourself in a situation where you will potentially get more commentary.
Yeah, yeah, it's to be expected, I guess, isn't it?
Yeah,
I'm
I'm saying
yeah.
expected, like it shouldn't really happen, but it does happen.
Yeah, I think I'm getting better at it. I'm getting like a thicker skin. And I think
Yeah,
just as time goes on, I'm caring even less about the grades. And yes, it's maybe this move is easier for someone taller, but I'm not taller and I still want to do it. So what
yeah,
we're gonna do? Like, we're
yeah,
not gonna cry about it. We're just gonna maybe it takes longer and I'll
yeah,
learn stuff on the way.
yeah,
And what a shame I have to come to this place again. Oh, so beautiful. Poor me.
yeah, yeah, yeah. For you.
Poor
But you're
me.
doing a
Oh
great
no.
job, so I think just keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
Yeah. And what is your superpower when it comes to the mental side of climbing?
Probably being stubborn slash
Stubborn.
tenacious. Yeah. Being resilient, actually.
Resilient.
Yeah, resilient. It's a mix of stubborn and tenacious together. Like
Okay.
coming up with a solution to something,
Okay.
something being impossible, and I'm determined to find a way around it.
Okay.
I
Cool.
think, yeah, being resilient and like being like having setback after setback and still going back to it.
Yeah. I guess stubborn, tenacious personality. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that. And I guess another one is maybe kind of ADHD related, but being able to focus intently on something when I want to, not always
Yeah.
when I need to, but when I want to.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think that probably helps on highballing.
Okay. So how do you do that, or that just naturally comes to you?
I think, like I say, because I'm so psyched to be there and happy and grateful, that makes a big difference. Because I've had it before, if I'm not really doing it for the right reasons and I don't really want to be there, I found that I can't focus properly.
Yeah.
I am distracted. So I think the big thing is actually doing it for reasons that I align with and are for me, aren't for outcomes or anyone else. It's for me and I'm happy to be there.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the biggest thing. Yeah, the motivator behind why I'm trying what I want to focus on.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and some of the bits we said before, like what did you call it? Like the instructional something, like the instructional.
Instructional motivation.
Yeah, like that's really helpful in the moment. Breath work is helpful in the moment, and then
Sorry, not so let me get that wrong. Rephrase that. So it's instructional self-talk. That
oh
sorry,
yeah, 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 yeah.
I got confused in my head. So you've got instructional self-talk and motivational self-talk. And instructional
Mm,
self-talk is where you instruct yourself to do things, and
yeah,
motivational self-talk is things like, come on, you can do this.
yeah. No,
Yeah.
I do less of that. I'm not very good at the motivational self-talk.
Okay.
I'm not very good at that in general.
Okay.
But the instructional self-talk helps in the moment if I find myself not focusing.
Yeah.
And again, some of those things like music for me, being present. I mean,
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be music. It could be another sense. It might be how the chalk feels on your hands, or you can get like scented chalk, can't you? You could maybe smell something. I know
I
I've
had
got
no idea you could get
yeah,
scented chalk.
get scented
Wow.
chalk. And I have a friend that likes to put liquid chalk on and like sniffs it before because the smell like brings her like into her senses.
Okay.
I feel like that's maybe a similar thing to the music, but like a funnier one. But
Okay.
yeah, it could be whatever sense.
Has it not got
Um,
alcohol in it? So maybe she gets like,
a little bit like a sniffing salt.
yeah,
Maybe, maybe
or
that's why she's doing it.
maybe she gets high on it, or I
Very
don't know.
briefly high. Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe I should try that. Yeah, but,
Yeah. Maybe she
yeah.
will try that.
Don't put that in.
No.
Sniffing chalk. Yeah,
Cool. So I'll ask a couple more questions. So if you had to choose between strength and technique, what would you choose?
technique.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, obviously a combo, but I think technique goes a long way. Like just something like a micro adjustment. I think it's from climbing on grip.
Yeah.
I'm probably the same strength roughly throughout the period of trying a problem, and it can go from feeling completely impossible to flowing really nicely. And the only difference is I've just honed in on like the micro adjustments and the technique. I
Yeah.
think technique's a massive one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. What's the one thing that's really helped you in your climbing?
Mm, probably, probably finding my own motivations and maximizing those.
Okay.
So yeah, after my little crisis, my identity crisis as a climber, like what am I doing? Why do I even like it?
Yeah.
Um, really thinking about what it is that motivates me. Like, why do I climb? Why will I climb when I'm 70? What is it that I really love about climbing?
Yeah.
And picking things that tick those boxes has made a massive difference, because I'm just so psyched and motivated and happy. And I think if you're happy and motivated, all these other things come with it. You get stronger, more technical.
Yeah.
Everything else improves if you just really want to be there for yourself. And it'll vary from person to person.
Yeah.
And you might have to sort of change what you're doing, and maybe even change up your climbing partners or climb on your own a bit, or whatever it is. But I think once you do that and you make those decisions, I think, that's made a huge difference for me. I just feel like my psyche is always there, and before it would dip and I'd be like, oh, I can't really be bothered. And I've not had that now for a long time.
So you're climbing for yourself and not for somebody else. Yeah.
Yeah. And I've been quite almost analytical again about why that is. Like, okay, I love being out in nature, but like that doesn't always look the same.
Yeah.
Like a roadside crag is still nature, but that's not ticking my boxes. Like, what is it? Is it these big moorland crags? Or being quite specific about what it is that really makes you psyched. Is it a style of climbing, or a rock type, or a place, and just trying to do a little bit more of that.
Yeah. So I guess I guess something that I've noticed a lot when I do the kind of coaching and climbing when it comes to head game stuff is the one thing that I notice a lot of people seem to I guess struggle with is a great knowledge of self-awareness of themselves and their internal workings. And I think I've had to work on it, and it comes natural to me. But I noticed that when I ask some questions to some climbers, that they struggle to kind of get in touch with that.
Yeah, self-awareness.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we all like to think we're more self-aware than we really are.
Yeah.
And I think it can be uncomfortable to be self-aware and to ask these questions. And you might think, oh, I'm not doing this climb for anyone else, and that's it. And you're like, oh, let's move on, let's not think about it. But like, if you really think about it and you get uncomfortable and you're like, I mean, I maybe kind of do want to impress my friend, or maybe I do need like the gratification of this Instagram send video getting likes, and maybe I don't feel great about myself unless I have this dopamine hit from the likes on my Instagram page or whatever. Like, if you, I feel like you kind of need to get uncomfortable and feel like a little bit, a bit, uncomfortable about things to be self-aware. And then I don't think you can grow as a person or as a climber without that self-awareness.
Yeah. Taking the time to look at oneself is not always comfortable.
We all like to think we're maybe not, or we're better at things than we are. And no one wants to feel badly about themselves, but you don't have to like think about it in a bad way. It's just all information, isn't it? Like, oh, maybe this does matter to me more than I thought. What can I do to feel better about that? Like, it's just information. It's not. It's not
I guess it's objectively looking at things, isn't it? It's kind of looking at things without emotion.
Trying your best to and being honest with yourself.
Yeah. Cool. One last question, and then I'll let you go. What piece of advice would you give to other climbers when it comes to the mental side of climbing?
I feel like I'm repeating myself with a lot of the same thing.
You can repeat yourself.
I would say, find out why you really want to climb. What is it that lights you up, that makes you excited? What will it be? Why will you be climbing when you're older? And what is it you love about it? And just try and maximize those things so you can have a good time. I think that, and I think everyone should take themselves slightly less seriously as well. It is meant to be fun. I quite like I know we've had quite a serious conversation.
Has it been serious?
Mostly, I don't know. I think silliness is a good one as well. Like, try and have fun with it and be a bit silly and take stuff less seriously, because all these like positive things are actually really good for performance.
Yeah. Cool. Amazing. Thanks, Tina.
Mhm.
Thank
Thank
you for your time.
you.
I hope you enjoyed this podcast with Tina. It was so nice to have a chat with Tina. She's a very kind person. She's a very soft and gentle person. It was really nice to talk to her and kind of find out what makes her tick in her climbing, and hope that she can make it in her future ventures in climbing and become a fully paid professional climber. If you have any suggestions on any topics you'd like us to cover or talk about, or you have any suggestions of people you'd like us to interview, please send us an email or send us a message on social media, and we'll see you next time.